The Bison Overtime Show. I'm Grant Hubbard alongside Ethan Eibach. We're going to start tonight with the NFL draft because A, it was bizarre, and B, our mock draft was way off from last week. So let's show up the graphic of our mock draft when you have a second in the back there, guys. Of the mock draft we did, I wrote it down on a page. Like I was watching the draft with a buddy of mine, and I just went through the draft and started to look through it. So I'll explain this quick. The green tells the picks we got right. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 14. We technically got 31 wrong, but since the Eagles and the Chiefs traded picks, I'll give us credit for Josh Simmons being correct. What do you think of the draft and what? Because our mock draft, we were right initially, we were way wrong towards the back end of it.
Yeah, it seems like the first 15 guys there's a talent gap between those, and then the last 15 or 16 guys, whatever you want to say, it was kind of impossible to pick. I think the one we really didn't do well on was that Mike Green pick, and obviously Shedeur Sanders too. But Mike Green was supposed to be a first-round pick, and he went late second round. Sanders, I think a lot of people had him going at least top 32, but
yeah. And the lines in blue represent the guys that are taken off the board when I was going down the list during the draft. So those are what the colors mean. It looks like a third-grade art project, but that's just how it went, so I apologize for that. Outside of the elephant in the room that was Shedeur Sanders, there were some other interesting picks in here, like Colston Loveland going 10th to the Bears. Yeah. Now, this is the McCaskey family. This is the Bears. They're known to screw up draft picks. They must really like Colston Loveland, or is Cole Kmet falling out of favor in Chicago? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
It could be a mixture of both. I think you see a theme with some teams that having two good tight ends is never a bad thing. But I think they did miss not getting Tyler Warren because he's clearly the best tight end on the board.
Yeah.
But clearly they liked Loveland better. But at number 10, I feel like they could have traded with the Colts.
Yep.
And that'd be at 14, less money, and you get another pick back. I just think it was a bad move on their part.
And now, we tried our best to make sure Gray Zabel went to Minnesota. Now, he went to Seattle, and I think when we did the mock draft, we talked about it. Before we taped it, we thought, there's a good chance Gray Zabel ends up in Seattle.
Yes.
We wanted him to go to Minnesota, but he wound up in Seattle. Seahawks needed depth on the interior offensive line. Zabel was the obvious pick for them. He went probably where he should have gone, because there were rumors he could have gone from San Francisco all the way to being out of the first round. I knew he would fall between 18 and 24. But Zabel being picked at 18, great for Gray, and good spot for him to land.
Yeah, and I think if he doesn't get picked there, he probably does slide to the Vikings because the Vikings took a guard. So it's that's clearly what they were looking for. But I think it's just a great fit. In Seattle, he'll start right away. If there's an injury, he could slide to tackle, go to center. He's with Sundell. It's just a really good fit, I think.
We have to address Shedeur, so we'll address it. He ends up going in the 5th round, so Ward was the obvious number 1 pick. Jackson Dart was a surprise, but not a surprise because the Giants are really high on Dart. But then Tyler Shuck gets drafted. Then Jalen Milroe goes. We had him at 21 in our mock draft. Whoops. He ends up falling back to Seattle later on. And then Dillon Gabriel gets picked by the Cleveland Browns. And then Shedeur gets picked. I wonder, they already picked Dillon Gabriel. Was Jimmy Haslam, the Cleveland Browns owner, involved in this draft pick? To me, from what the draft cam showed us, it looked like this pick may have been forced upon the Browns more than they wanted to take.
Yeah, I think after the first round, everyone thought, because the Browns had the first pick in the second round, I think everyone thought
he'd just go there. Right.
They don't pick him there. It's like, okay, he's going to go to the Raiders or something like that. And once we got past that third round, we realized, okay, he's going to get picked as a backup, which I still think he will here, but I think he's going to have a chance to maybe slide into the backup role behind Flacco probably, because Kenny Pickett isn't that good.
Yeah.
Dillon Gabriel I just don't think he is an NFL quarterback. I'm really surprised they took him that early. I think Quinn Ewers is honestly better than him. There's a lot of guys that they could have gotten.
Yeah, there are a lot of guys in that draft, especially with the Browns quarterback room now. There has to be an odd man out because they have a ton of quarterbacks now. To me, the odd man out is probably Pickett.
Yes.
I think they probably trade him or cut him before training camp starts. It's a shame they already had Hard Knocks in Cleveland a couple years ago because otherwise this would be a perfect reality show with the Cleveland Browns quarterbacks. We have to another thing with the Las Vegas Raiders in the 6th round. They take not only 1 but 2 FCS quarterbacks. They take Malott at 213 in the draft, and then Cam goes at 215 in the draft. Tom is going to play wide receiver in the NFL because he has a 4.3 40.
Yes.
Cam is obviously the more polished quarterback prospect. It's dramatic irony that those two keep getting linked up together,
Yeah.
but it's really cool that both of them are going to be playing for the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah, and I think both of them have potential to. It's weird to say, but I think they both could play a little bit this year because Aiden O'Connell has got his shot and he's okay. He's not great. Geno Smith is a pretty solid quarterback in the NFL, but if he gets hurt, do you really trust Aiden O'Connell?
No.
Cam's gonna get a shot, I think, at some point. Obviously, he will in the preseason. And I think Malott, with how average the Raiders receiving core is, he's going to get a shot as well. He's probably going to be I think he's going to be like a punt returner, honestly.
Yeah, that's true.
That could be like Julian Edelman in 09. I mean,
also, shameless plug to this guy's YouTube channel. Ethan Eibach's highlight video of Cam Miller has 29,000 views. I'm guessing almost all of them, because he had, 9,000 views before the draft?
It was like 6,000.
So
yeah.
26,000 Raider fans probably clicked on your video over the last couple of days. But again, we know Cam has potential. Can he be the starter for the Raiders down the road? I don't know if he's going to pull a Tom Brady and be the next starter for. I mean, Tom Brady picked him, but I don't know if Tom is going to make sure. Yeah, this guy's going to be our quarterback in 4 years. I don't know about that because Geno's contract lasts the next 3 years. But when it comes to the Raider unknown is just an NFL draft specialty. So who knows how that's going to shake out. Let's shift more to specifically the Vikings. First off, Donovan Jackson goes 24th to the Vikings, the guard out of Ohio State. Your reaction is?
I was surprised, kind of.
Okay,
honestly.
That's fair.
I thought when Kelvin Banks and Zabel go off the board, I'm like, well, we're not getting no lineman. We'll probably just go down the board and get one. Maybe get a D-back, maybe Malachi Starks. That's what I thought it was going to be. Mm-hmm. And I was like, Donovan Jackson, I honestly kind of forgot who that was until they put him up on the board. Oh, it's a guard. So I was like, at least they're doing it the right way. Honestly, like how the Chargers have done the last few years. They just built the O-line, screw every other position. But the Vikings have the difference between the Chargers and the Vikings. The Vikings have key young guys in spots like Jefferson, Aaron Jones, Hawkinson. Their offense is completely stacked in my mind.
Speaking of J.J. McCarthy, his quote to the media yesterday was, "I know I'm ready to start." He's just said it out in the open. It's his job to lose. We know they brought in Sam Howell to be his backup. They finally addressed the backup quarterback, so all the Twitter people out there, shut up when it comes to the backup quarterback. It's been solved, okay? But again, the rest of their draft. Ty Felton, wide receiver out of Maryland. Questionable third-round pick. We didn't see them taking a receiver in the third round, but again, you don't know what Jordan Addison's situation is going to be come week 1 of the season. And you don't know if he's going to be here the following year. Yeah. So drafting a receiver, I get it, but it's questionable.
Yeah, I think if you're going to do it, that was probably the spot to do it. And the thing about the Vikings is they're really good at drafting receivers.
Yes.
So I trust them.
But they can't draft a corner.
No.
So I don't understand.
Yeah, if they're Stephon Diggs was a fifth-round pick. Not saying this guy's going to be that, but I'm saying.
Well, same college, that helps.
Yeah, but I mean, I trust the Vikings. I think that when they pick receivers, they do it well. And if this guy's anywhere near Jordan Addison, we're going to have a really good third receiver.
Yeah. Just the other picks quickly. Tyrion Ingram Dawkins, the linebacker out of Georgia. Kobe King, Penn State linebacker. And Gavin Bartholomew, the tight end out of Pittsburgh, best known for leaping over a Tennessee defensive back a year or so ago. He'll fill that third tight end role because Johnny Munt left for Jacksonville, so that fills that spot. People are questioning their draft. According to Peter Schrager, the Vikings love their draft. So we'll see how this goes. It's a good draft, but has some question marks.
Yeah, I think, honestly, the late round picks, it's kind of meh. It's you don't know what to think about it, and it's really always like that because you don't know these players that well. I think it's good that they addressed that tight end spot because not only will he be the third tight end, T.J. Hawkinson's pushing 30, so he'll be gone in a few years. It's always good to draft young.
So let's shift gears now to the NBA playoffs, which has been just bizarre, I think, to say the least. The Eastern Conference, we'll start with the East. The East has been the most predictable side, I think, the last couple of years.
Yeah.
I want to start with Milwaukee because they got knocked out by Indiana, again, last night, Wednesday night, we're taping this. They got knocked out in 5 by Indiana. Predictable outcome, but this could have been pushed to 6. But again, classic Doc Rivers. They blow a 7-point lead with 45 seconds to go. They fumble the ball out of bounds. Halliburton drives around Giannis to win the game. And then, there's the fisticuffs afterwards. That was bizarre. But I want to look at the Bucks' future, okay? If you're Milwaukee, Giannis is pushing 30. He's getting there. and your future looks bleak because Damian Lillard tore his Achilles, and he's not going to probably play at all next year, if any. And you're kind of left with, you have no picks because those belong to the Portland Trailblazers, so their future is in Portland's hands, whether they like it or not. And what are you left with? I mean, Brook Lopez is on an expiring contract. What's left for Milwaukee at this point?
Yeah, I think that they always talk about like in the NFL, it's your Super Bowl window, and then now it's your finals window. I think the Bucks obviously have had a good run. I think it's probably coming to an end here pretty soon. I think they could be pretty good next year. We just don't know, but I don't see them being one of the top teams next year.
Here's the Bucks title window for you. Gone.
Yeah.
Gone, shut, see you later. It's done. They had a great run for 3 years, but the minute they traded Drew Holiday for Lillard, I'm like, this ain't gonna work. It's two great superstars, they just don't fit together. That's as simple as that. I wrote last night that, it'd be New York and Boston. Turns out we're still playing. It's the Pistons and the Knicks. They keep on playing. They have Game 6, I think, tomorrow night in Detroit. That's a war. I mean, 5 games decided by 5 points. And honestly, if you are Detroit, you feel like this series should be done and over with because they've played better than the Knicks.
Yeah, they have. I think the Knicks have severely underperformed for being a 3 seed.
And they traded, 6 first-round picks? And you're pushing the Pistons are pushing you to 6? That's a bit underwhelming to me.
Yeah, you look at the Pistons. Was it 2 years ago when they were like one of probably the
or last year they were the worst team in the NBA? Yeah,
terrible. Now, yeah, we're talking about the Bucks having a future kind of going downhill. The Pistons, they're moving this way.
Yeah, it's interesting with New York because they got Bridges. That cost them 5 first-round picks. They get Cat. That costs you the Pistons first-round pick, which the Wolves will use. Thank you, Knicks. We appreciate the first-round pick. Yeah. And you also trade away Julius Randle and DiVincenzo, who has probably been one of the better players the Wolves have had this season off the bench.
Yes.
So you helped the Wolves, and you made yourself better. I don't doubt that. You made yourself better. You're building yourself to beat Boston. The problem is Boston's gotten better as well. So if it's New York and Boston in the second round, I might take the Celtics to sweep that series. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, and I honestly don't think it matters because I think the Cavs are the best team from the East. So
no question.
It's hard for me to really pay attention to this part of the bracket here because the Cavs are just so good. It's going to be tough for any of those teams to beat them. If anybody can, it's the Celtics, though.
Yeah. Again, if you're Detroit, this is their first, you have to learn, right? You have to lose and you have to learn in those. Like the Wolves did that for a couple years in a row. Detroit's doing that right now. They're better than those Wolves teams a couple of years ago. They're better than that. Cunningham has been unbelievable. Again, if a foul goes their way, if Brunson doesn't get hot in 1/4 quarter, this series should be game, set, match for the Pistons. They still haven't won a playoff game since I think we were 3 years old, but at home anyways.
Yeah.
But they're headed in the right direction, let's put it that way. Again, Cleveland, they've already moved on to the second round. They blew through the Heat in 4 quick games. I don't know what the hell Miami's doing. Miami, I don't know, I have all sorts of questions with the Miami Heat, but Cleveland, Indiana, second round. I like Indiana, but I don't like them enough to win the series. I think they'll get a game or two.
Yeah.
I can't remember if they got a game. I think they got swept by Boston last year, but they made it a series in the conference finals. I like Cleveland in 6. I think that's a fair assessment.
Yeah, I think the Pacers would probably be happy with that too.
I think they would be.
I think realistically 5 or 6 games is realistic. I could see a sweep. They're just that good, but I think you're about right. 5 or 6 games is probably where this is going to go. I could see Indiana getting a game.
Now, again, the Western Conference never makes any sense.
No.
Every team in the West usually has at least 48 wins going into the playoffs. So seeding, unless you're the 8th seed, really doesn't mean anything. Unless you're the Golden State Warriors, who are the best 7 seed I think anybody's ever seen.
Yeah.
But let's start with OKC. They blew through Memphis in 4 games. Pretty easy result. We kind of figured that was going to happen. Okay. Here's my thing with the Thunder. I saw a video on YouTube. A guy was comparing them to the 96 Bulls.
No.
Okay. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is not Michael Jordan, and Lou Dort is far from Scottie Pippen. Okay? That's the greatest team of all time. This OKC team, they're good, but the Wolves split with them during the regular season. Just throwing that out there. But OKC will get the winner of the Nuggets and Clippers series. Denver took the lead in their series last night against the Clippers at home in Denver. This is classic Clippers to me.
Yeah.
They're overhyped going into the playoffs because they won like 11 or 14 to end the regular season. They got the 5 spot. They were up 2 games to 1, and then they have just fallen flat on their face because that's what the Clippers do in May.
Yep, every year that happens. And again, like the Pacers Bucks, this series to me doesn't mean much because the Thunder are going to I could see a 4-0 sweep.
Yes.
It's going to be – the Thunder are just extremely – I honestly think the Wolves are the best chance to beat the Thunder.
Yes.
If they make
no
it
question.
that far.
No
'Cause
question.
The Lakers are playing not great. The Warriors and Rockets, I don't think they are going to beat them. I just think the Wolves have the best chance.
I think Denver looks at the Clippers and go, hey, you're not Minnesota. We got a shot in this series. Because, again, Minnesota's won 6 consecutive games. We're trying to make this a Timberwolves show here, but they've won 6 straight games against Denver. It's a bad matchup for Denver. So I think Denver is more than happy to play Harden and his step backs compared to Ant driving to the basket on Jokic 7 times every single game.
I think they're glad the Wolves are the 6 seed, not the 5.
Speaking of the Timberwolves, we'll just go to the Lakers-Wolves series while we're at it. Let's just get right off the chest. Are you surprised the Wolves are up 3-1?
I am, but after, the way they've been shooting, the clutch shooting at the end of the games, it's you're going to win games in April and May when you're shooting like that. So I am surprised they're up 3-1. Maybe if you asked me about a week ago, I would have said probably 2-2 series tied. 3-1 is really surprising to me, and I would kind of be shocked if they win it in 5. I think it's going to go to at least 6 games.
No, this series should be tied 2-2. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
The last game 4 should have gone LA's way, but again, the 2-minute report that everybody loves in the NBA. There should have been a foul called on Jaden McDaniels. I 100%, and I will let that should have been called. However, I do love that we haven't seen the Hawkeye camera all season long in the NBA. Any telecast haven't seen it, and yet we go to Game 4, and of course the camera is right above Anthony Edwards and LeBron James. You can clearly see the contact on the hand, so they have to call that. It is the Jaden McDaniels rule after all.
Yeah.
So, but again, I do take personal pride as a Wolves fan beating the Lakers in a series. I'm not going to lie, but they still have to win one more game, and it's Luka and LeBron. But you have to think about it with Anthony Edwards. In 2 postseasons, he could have gone through Kevin Durant, Nikola Jokic, and then in the second postseason get through Luka, LeBron, and a possibility of Curry and Butler, and then go through Shea and Jalen Williams to get to the final. That'd be like an all-time gambit of guys he has to get through to win a championship. That'd be absurd if that was the story.
I would compare that to the Buccaneers in 2020 when Brady and the Bucs had to go through Breeze, Rodgers, Mahomes.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. That's good.
But I think, to beat LeBron, this is kind of like, I don't want to be cringy and say this is the passing of the torch because LeBron's going to play another 2-3 years probably.
Well, yeah, he'll play. He might play till the next election at this point. So who knows?
Anthony Edwards, I think, is really creeping into that face of the NBA pretty quickly because he's still really young. And if you're the Wolves, you got to do everything you can to keep him around because if you're going to win a finals, this is the guy to do it, and now is the time.
Yeah, you said it, but I'll skip ahead here. Who is the next American face of the NBA? I think we know the answer, and it's Anthony Edwards. I don't know if he wants it, but he's just going to get it because every other NBA MVP the last couple of years has been foreign-born. Jokic, Embiid, Doncic. Well, I don't think he's won an MVP, but he's going to get one at some point in his career. Shea will win the MVP. So whether he likes it, Wemby will probably win one as well. But the next, so let's go like 2028 Olympics. He's going to be the guy carrying Team USA. It's not going to be LeBron. He ain't playing in 2028. Well, no. I don't think so, but it's LeBron, so who will hold it to him? But so I think we know who that's going to be. It's just, does he want it or not?
Yeah,
that's the question.
Yeah, I don't think he minds the attention at all.
No,
but
far from it.
I think because what is he, 23?
23. That's
pretty young to have that big of a weight on your shoulders. But with how good he's played and the big games he's played in, I wouldn't put it past him for being able to handle that.
A series that will the Game 5 will start in about 7 minutes from now when we're at 6 o'clock Central Time here. Golden State's up 3-0 on Houston. We should have seen this coming. It's Golden State. It's Jimmy Butler in the playoffs. It's Steph. It's Draymond. Whether you like them or not, they know how to turn it on in the playoffs, and they're up 3-1. They're in Houston tonight. I think they're going to win that series tonight because they play before the Wolves. I like their chances to wrap this up tonight.
Yeah, they're. We've seen it the last 10 years. It's this time of year they play their best, even when they have had really good regular seasons. But as a Wolves fan, I like the Wolves over the Warriors. If the Wolves are able to move on, I think they're the better team, even though they might not. Even though the Warriors are playing really well, I like that matchup.
Yeah, I hope the Rockets win tonight just to extend the series a little bit further, but because again, if you're the Wolves, you either face a Rockets team that you are better than. The Rockets are having the best season they've had in 7 years. They are inexperienced in the playoffs. If Alperen Şengün is the guy taking the last shot, I like our chances, or I like the Warriors' chances to win those games, right?
Yeah.
Or you get Golden State with home court advantage. So you pick and choose, you get a good result either way.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the second round. I think these matchups are going to be really good, especially, I mean, for a 6 versus 7 series, assuming the Wolves and the Warriors move on, that's about as good as it gets. Because usually if it's a 6 and a 7, you're not expecting much.
This is one other thing that I saw this week that I kind of wanted to touch on. So the NBA All-Star Game might change their format again. Tell me if you've heard that one before. So we've gone from East-West to the draft, back to East-West to a 3-on-3 or to a 5-on-5 14 tournament. And now they may try the USA versus World format, which honestly, you should have done this about 10 years ago. Because the NHL did the Four Nations tournament, which was fantastic. That got record viewership on ESPN. It was great. So I was thinking, we were in the back before the show started. Okay, starting 5 for the U.S. and the world, okay? So if I gave you the U.S. starting 5 of Curry, Anthony Edwards, LeBron James, Jason Tatum, and Anthony Davis, opposed by the world lineup of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Luka Doncic, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Nikola Jokic, again, we're cheating on positions a little bit, and Victor Wembanyama. I like the world in that game, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I think that's about right. I mean, how many MVPs are on this list right now?
Let's see. Let's
Quite
count.
a few.
Let's just of the 10 players combined. 1, 2, 3. We'll count Shea. 4. There's 5 MVPs and 2 future MVPs because Edwards and Wemby will probably win an MVP at some point in their careers.
That would set records on TV.
I would think so. And as long as they try, okay, NBA players, can you please try in an All-Star game?
That's the issue.
Ant will try. If you ask him, he will try in that game. But you have to make him try a little bit. That's all we're asking, okay? Competitive game. We don't care who wins, but competitive, please.
Yeah. The only NBA, NHL, NFL, they've all struggled with all-star games. I think the one sport that has it right is the MLB because...
Well, you have to try in that because you don't want to get embarrassed by the best
Exactly.
pitcher on the planet.
Yeah. But I mean, the one thing they need to switch back to is wearing your team's uniforms and not wearing the American League or National League uniforms because it's super ugly. But anyway, yeah, I think the NBA needs to make a change. They need to model it some way like the NHL has.
Okay, you thought of this idea over the weekend. We're going to go with it. The NDSU End of Year Awards. This is an idea you got from Jeff Kolpak and Don Izzo, I believe.
Yep.
So break this down. What are we doing here?
So we go Team MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Newcomer of the Year, or like a rookie, so somebody that maybe hasn't played a ton, like a redshirt freshman, something like that. Or somebody just flat out hasn't played a ton and they could be older. But anyway, most improved, and then a player to watch out for next year, 2025.
Okay. All right. You say your MVP because we have the same MVP pick.
Yeah.
So who's the MVP and why?
I'm going Cam Miller.
Okay,
I think
those are mine.
Any game they played this year other than the Colorado game when Travis Hunter was on the field, he was the best player on the field, and he showed it. Basically, was flawless all year, and he was just an X factor.
Okay, you cheated on the Offensive Player of the Year award. We're going to split the award. What is this, the 2003 MVP race in the NFL? We're going to split the award? Okay. So you have Gray Zabel and Bryce Lance sharing the Offensive Player of the Year. Discuss your reasoning on why there.
Basically, because Bryce Lance was their best offensive weapon, but it's hard for me to leave Gray Zabel off this list completely because he was probably the best football player overall on the team. But I think Bryce Lance deserves this award, and it's hard to give it to an offensive lineman, but I can't leave Gray off the list.
Mine was Bryce, Bryce. We're not. I love Gray. Don't get me wrong, but to me, it's not even a question. Yeah. Like it's like the quarterback is the most valuable player, the best offensive player. It's Bryce Lance, and it's not particularly close. I think on that front, most dominant receiving season we've seen in the modern day FCS. He's no Jerry Rice by any stretch of the imagination, but no shadow of a doubt. He's the best FCS receiver we've seen in a couple of years, if not further. He's better than any season the Yankees put up.
Yep.
He's better than any season that Darius Shepard put up or Christian Watson. Best offensive player, bar none. Who's the defensive player there? We shared this one as well.
Yeah, I went Logan Kopp.
That's
I mean, when you needed a big play, a big interception, a big tackle, he was the guy. I mean, he reminds me so much of like Travis Beck. He has that clutch gene. and he's not really the biggest guy in the world either. He knows how to make big plays and big time games. I think what solidified this for me was that pick in the SDSU game.
Yeah. Yeah, let me see here. So, defensive player of the year, the rookie / the newcomer. I'll reveal mine first. I went with Griffin Empey, the offensive, the right guard this year. Again, we were unsure. Again, we always fool ourselves into thinking there's going to be a question up front with the Bison offensive line. There never is, but we just like to have one anyway. Empey stepped in as a redshirt freshman, dominated at that right guard spot. The game, he only missed a couple of games throughout the season. Just dominant right side, stabilized the right side of the offensive line with Mason Miller. He was, I don't think he was all conference. I think he was an honorable mention, I believe. Mm-hmm. He, no doubt, to me, is the newcomer, rookie, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I think you could also throw Trent Fraley on this list too.
You could, yes.
The whole offensive line in general, I mean, Cam was untouched this year, basically. Yeah. So I think that's a great pick. I hate to do it because he just left, but I don't blame him because of the money he just got.
I thought Marty too. Yeah. But again, he's off to the University of Miami. I wanted to put somebody who's not going to be on the field next year, so I went with an offensive lineman, but I see why you went with Marty. I get it.
Yeah, if I would have done this right after the season, I would have went Marty Brown. That's what I did here. I mean, the Bison run game in 2023 was not there at all. This year it was somewhat back to what we know it as when you run the ball as an NDSU football team. So I just think anyone the Jerry Rice Award, it's just hard for me to leave him off of here. But I think, honestly, if I had to pick anyone else at the moment, I'd pick Darius Givens because you look at where he was in that Colorado game and where he was at the end of the year, the improvement was really, it was crazy.
Again, we both share the most improved player as well. It's Bryce Lance as well. Again, he had 4 career catches going into the season, and then he erupts for 15 touchdowns and 60-plus catches. Again, Matt Nitz isn't here anymore, but I just question, what did you not see in him during those? He's like, no, Giancarlo Volpin-Testa is who I want starting over Bryce Lance. I'll never understand that still.
Yeah, that's something I like about Polisek is it doesn't matter if you're a senior or you're a true freshman, the best guy is going to play. And I think Entz kind of wanted the guys that have been there for a while to play, like Jake Lippy and Giancarlo, like you were saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's the obvious pick. I mean, he had, like you said, under 5 catches, and he had crazy amount of catches in 2024.
Now, we differ on the player to watch out for this coming season, so who's your player to watch for in 2025?
I'm going with Donovan Woolen. I think now that Enoch Sibomana has transferred, I think he's going to start. I think he's going to be – he reminds me of like a skinny freshman Jabril Cox, if you know what I mean. Like he had an interception in that spring game that they had this past Friday. I think he's going to be a playmaker, and I'm sorry to say it, but I think – we'd be lucky if he's here in 2026.
Yeah, that's sad, but that's fair.
Yeah.
I know I have one player. Now I'm gonna. If you're gonna cheat, I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna throw 2 in here as well. Okay. The players I'm gonna watch for in 2025. I'm gonna go Darius Givens and Ryan Jones. I'm gonna throw them both in there because again, like you said, the Colorado game, inexperience showed. Again, it's Travis Hunter, Jimmy Horn, and LaShonte Webster. They were gonna dominate the Bison no matter who was out there playing safety with the young guys. And no Wisniewski, no Sam Young. I get all that. But you go into this year, they look more confident. Mm-hmm. They definitely have a great front 7 in front of them. I think they're going to be really good. I think, honestly, they could both be all conference selections when you think about it.
Yeah. If you look at Ryan Jones, honestly, up until the semifinal game, it scared me when he was on the field.
Yep.
Those last 2 games, he was a difference maker. And I want to say he led the team in tackles in the semifinal game. But I think you're right on that. And I think Darius Givens, seeing him in the spring game, he looks like a man now. I mean, he looks like he's going to be an all-conference safety, and he's only a junior. Hopefully he stays another year. Hopefully we have 2 more years. Don't want to jinx ourselves, but he's a great player.
So next week we'll have our season finale because our semester ends in a couple of weeks. So next week will be our last episode. Ethan, it's been great to have you here for the rest of this semester. I want to tackle something as we sign off. This is very personal to me and to the people that I have been around for a long time. I wear a wristband. It says 12 strong. I probably can't see it. It's too far away. That's for Jeff McKinnon. He was a linebacker at NDSU for 4 years here. He's a North Dakota native. He had a 7-year battle with multiple myeloma. He passed away last week before the draft. I'm very close with Jeff's family, the McKinnon family, his wife Amy, Merritt and Miles, his children. I'm best friends with Miles McKinnon. I love that guy to death. His service is tomorrow. I'll be going to that. it's sad that Jeff passed away because that guy was a fighter. He's a very close friend of mine. And I'm going to miss you, Jeff, because you were one of the best men I've ever been around. You coached me for a while. Heaven's getting a hell of a linebacker. Let's put it that way. A great coach and a great linebacker. So thank you, Jeff, for everything, what you did, and you'll be missed, my friend. This has been Bison Overtime. Thank you, and go Bison.